Hey there! In this lesson we will learn how to add JavaScript. As soon as we do it, we will be able to start coding. So let's start. There are three ways how to add JavaScript, but I will show you only one way, which is the most correct and the most recommended. You already know that the HTML code has to be written in a file with a special extension, which is HTML. You also know that the most recommended way for writing CSS properties is to create a separate file with the CSS extension. The same approach for JavaScript. You have to write your JavaScript programs in a file with a special extension, which is JS. Suppose we have such a structure of a website. We have the index.html file and the CSS folder with the style.css file inside of it. You already know how to connect the style.css file with the index.html file to make them work together. By the same logic, we have to create a folder called JS with the script.js file inside of it. And then we have to connect this script.js file with the index.html file. Okay, you've got the idea. Now, let's do it in practice. I have already created the index.html file with the basic structure. In the body, there's an H tag with the text "Have a nice day." Let's move on to the site folder. Here we see our index.html file, and also the CSS folder with the style.css file inside of it, and the img folder for the pictures of the website. Now, let's create a new folder called JS. Inside of this folder, we will create a file called script.js. To do this, we have to open Sublime Text. The file, new file, and save it. We will save it in the JS folder with the name script.js. Okay, great. The script.js file is already created. So how can we connect this file to the index.html file? Let me show you this on the slides, and then we will do it in practice. When we connect the CSS file, we write a link tag in the head tag. When we connect the JS file, we have to write a script tag before the closing body tag. As you see, unlike the link tag, the script tag is paired. To connect the CSS file, we use the special attribute called href, and then a path to file where this CSS file is stored. To connect the JS file, we have to use another special attribute called src, which stands for source, and then a path to file. In our case, we have to write js/script.js. Now let's add this line to our code. One more time, I draw your attention that you have to add this line before the closing body tag. We write a script tag, and then add an attribute called source. As the value of this attribute, we write js/script.js. Okay, done. The script.js file is connected to the HTML file. So what should we write in this file? Inside of this file, we will be writing our scripts. A script is a set of commands which JavaScript runs one by one. So let's learn our first JavaScript command. The name of this command is alert. It creates a pop-up window with a text that we can specify. You have to write the word alert, then parentheses, and semicolon at the end. Inside of the parentheses, you have to write a text in quotes. Let's see how this command works in practice. In the script.js file, we have to write alert, then parentheses and semicolon at the end. Inside of the parentheses, we will write a text that we want to be displayed in a pop-up window. I will write "Hello World," but you can type any text you wish. Save it. Now to check whether this command works or not, we have to refresh the page. As you see, a pop-up window has appeared with the text "Hello World" and a button with the text "OK." We click the button, and that's it. Our script just finished its work. Let's have a closer look at how JavaScript runs this short program that we wrote. When we refresh the page, the browser started to run line by line. First, this heading with the text "Have a nice day" was displayed in the browser window. Second, the script.js file has been connected to the index.html file. Third, in the file script.js, this line of code was executed. That's why a pop-up window with the text "Hello World" has appeared in the browser window. We pressed OK, and our script.js file finished its work. In this file, we can write as many lines of coding as we wish. Let's copy this line of code and paste it 2 times. In this line, we will replace the text "Hello World" with "How are you?" And in this line, we will replace the text with "Have a nice day." Save it. OK. As I have already said before, any JavaScript program is always run line by line from top to bottom. That means that first, this line of code will be executed and a pop-up window will be displayed. When we click OK, the next line of code will be executed. This time, a new pop-up window with the text "How are you?" will be opened. When we click OK, the last line of code will be run. And again, we will see a pop-up window with the text "Have a nice day." Let's check. Refresh the page. We see "Hello World," which is our first command. Click OK. And we see a new pop-up window with "How are you?" That means that the second JavaScript command was executed. Click OK. And we see "Have a nice day," which means that the third command was executed. Click OK. I hope you've got the idea. Please note that this semicolon is not really obligatory. A command would work if you skip it. Still, I highly recommend you to write a semicolon at the end of each command. On the slide, you see 2 almost identical scripts. The only difference is that in the script that is on the right side, we have semicolon after each command. If we run these 2 scripts, they will work. Still, it is not recommended to write a code in a way it is written on the left side. Why? Because it might happen that we somehow write all these 3 commands in a row. If we don't have a semicolon at the end of each command, an error message will be displayed. Why is that? Because JavaScript considers that either semicolon is the end of a command or the end of a row. If we don't have semicolons after each of these 3 commands, JavaScript will consider all these 3 alert commands as one command. Since there is no such command in JavaScript, we will get an error message. If we have semicolons after each command, everything will work nicely. Therefore, when we have a semicolon at the end of each command, we can be sure that we don't have such problems. It's time to show you this in practice. We have a semicolon at the end of each command. Delete all semicolons and all break rows to get these 3 commands in a row. Save it and refresh the page. As you see, nothing happens, no pop-up windows. JavaScript didn't understand these 3 commands written in a row because there is no such command. Now we add semicolons after each command. Then save it and refresh the page. And we see that everything works because JavaScript first will run this command from alert till semicolon, then this alert command till semicolon, and finally this. That's why it's better to follow the rule that after command you should write a semicolon. Great. Now you know how to add JavaScript. You've learned your first JavaScript command, and you know why it is so important to use semicolons at the end of each command. That's it for this lesson. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.